Anything you should know about the meta? Just make sure you pick Jull no matter what, okay? That's all you need to know. You gotta make sure you pick Jull. If you don't pick Jull, you're gonna have a lot of trouble in the game. It's Friday, January the 17th. We have our new patch called To Your Health. Here's an update. Let's check out what we have here. There's some fixes to Assassin, Pathfinding, some Bad Rider voice lines, an Essex Golem upgrade, okay? Those are some general changes, but we have a lot of heroes and Underlord changes here, it seems like, especially for Jull, since Jull has been quite underpicked, I would say. Maybe because he had a lot of bugs, but hopefully they fix some more of those and they buffed him. So let's take a look here. His max health has been increased from, wow, so currently he had 1360 when he started. Now he has 2100 HP, so that is insane how much more HP that he's gaining. And on max levels he has another additional 1000 health than what he used to, so it's very tanky. He has 25% magic resistance as well now, so it's very that makes him insanely tanky just from these two alone. Aggressive tank Jull has fixed Barrels of Fun, giving enemies damage resistance rather than taking increased damage. So it was actually bugged. Instead of making them take more damage, it was actually helping them be tankier. He was actually a lot worse than he should have been even before the buff, so that's pretty huge. Aggressive tank replaced slow burn with roundhouse. Jull gains 70% damage reduction, 200 attack speed, and 50% lifesteal for 5 seconds. That is insane. With this much health and 200 attack speed, he's gonna be trucking. Like, can you imagine a Jull that gets like bloodlusted or has some kind of damage amp from, like, let's say a Sara or something like that, and it just hitting for 200 attack speed, and he can lifesteal all that damage back, like almost all that damage back, right? He has 50% lifesteal. That's insane. He's gonna be so tanky, and he also gets 70% damage reduction. Then healing tank replaced righteous healing to your health. His first primary spells changed to something else for the tank one. Jull gains 70% damage reduction for 5 seconds, so another damage reduction spell. And then adjacent allies are healed for 200% of damage taken by Jull during this time. 200%? Your units are not gonna die. Adjacent though, so only 2 units, right? It shouldn't be everyone in like some kind of a box. But whoever's next to you, like if he activates a spell, they're just not gonna die. As long as even 1 unit is hitting the Jull, it's gonna heal them for 200%. And this before damage reduction, I believe. Like if a unit hits you for 50 damage, Jull's gonna heal the units next to him for 100, right? That's kind of crazy. Someone said there's also something not in the patch notes. He gets armor for adjacent allies too now. Oh, that's a lot. So that's another also buff for Jull that was not actually written here. But yeah, I think Jull is gonna be insanely powerful, and there's gonna be so many people playing Jull now, and the meta could potentially be like surrounded by this one Jull and like how to take him down. So disables might be more important, you know, ways to kill him fast might be very important as well. Because he's got a lot of HP that he's gonna guarantee like his spells being casted no matter what. So some hero changes, Alchemist, pretty much some crazy nerfs. Like 1 armor at every level is like a big nerf for Alchemist. Like every armor matters, but Alchemist at the same time was like probably one of the best, if not the best unit in the game that could be played in like almost every single build. I think it was worth the ban, and I still think people will play Alchemist because damage reduction is pretty insane to help your whole team. Also really good against insects. Crystal Maiden, damage changed, so at level 2 and level 3 she does more damage, and duration is changed, so at all levels it's longer. At 6 seconds, I think level 3 Crystal Maiden also has 6-second cooldown, so it's pretty much like permanent frostbite on someone potentially, which is crazy. That's actually a very big buff to Crystal Maiden. Like 4-second root is absurd, and 5-second root at level 2 also absurd. Dragonite, max health change, so he got some nerfs to his HP. He was a very popular pick in almost every build, so I think that was worth it for him to be nerfed. He's just less tanky, but still does the same amount of damage. So nerf to Dragonite without hurting him too much. Earth Spirit tier changed from 3 to 2, and Ember Spirit changed from 2 to 3. So they just swapped Earth Spirit and Ember. I think Earth Spirit as a 2 cost is going to be amazing because he can actually play warriors now. Earth Spirit as a 3 cost was just too expensive, but as a 2 cost, I think his stats, since they didn't change it, is like super good. Like for a 2 cost, his stats are like almost as good as Pudge, right? And he's got a pretty decent spell too. So I really like that. Ember being a 3 cost. Now, this is good and bad for assassins, right? Bad because you can't get Ember super early as a 2-star. And also his stats were not changed. But he did get nerfed in the previous patch, like his battle fears and stuff, and his damage. Good because as a 3 cost, it's going to be much easier for you to 3-star him without having to stay low level in the game. You can just keep leveling, and you can keep picking up Ember Spirits as they come, right? And then you can 3-star it late into the game. So that's good for assassins. So it's like, it's kind of a nerf, but you could also see it as a buff. Morphling waveform damage changed. 3-star Morphling's damage has been reduced. 3-star Morphling was ridiculous. It was completely OP. And this 3-star Morphling damage was according to like the previous patch when units had double the health, so they had to like scale it down. And then cooldown changed to 6 seconds at all levels. So level 1 Morphling gonna be stronger, and level 3 Morphling gonna be weaker. It's like in the current patch, it was like if you had level 3 Morphling, you just won. If you're mages, you had level 3 Morph, you just won the game. So this is pretty big. Unless there was like a lucky doom on your Morph or something. So that's pretty big. Omni Knight, max health changed. He got pretty much some nerfs to his HP. Maybe they thought that he had too high of a win rate or something. Razor, Plasma Field, minimum damage changed from 25 to 40. Max damage also changed, so some nerfs to Razor because he was just a bit too powerful. He had the same problem as Morphling where he was tuned for the patch with double health. Shadow Shaman Voodoo will not hex the same target twice unless all other targets have been hexed already. So there was a problem with Shaman hexing, like let's say your 3-star LD or your Legion or something multiple times in a row, and then your unit was just like not able to do anything the whole fight. So good change. Sniper Assassinate cooldown changed, so it's longer, so Sniper can't just one-shot your units like at an extremely fast rate. I think that was a much needed change to Sniper. It was worth it. If no units are alive on the enemy side, it's up the Underlord, then the Sniper will cast Assassinate on the Underlord. That was a change from the previous patch, and I think that's good. Storm Spirit base damage changed. It increased on level 1 and 2, less on level 3. Extra damage per cell travel changed. It also increased on level 1 and less on level 3. So level 1 and 2 Storm stronger, level 3 a bit weaker. Same thing as Morphling. They were both too strong on level 3, but their level 1 and 2 making them stronger makes them have a better early and mid game for mages. Tiny max health changed, so he got buffed in his HP and his damage. So Tiny was kind of underrated, not really something valuable you took. You kind of just sold it as soon as you find a better placement, but now it's definitely just a tiny bit buff for the early game for him. Treant Protector cooldown changed from 7 to 10. I think this long time ago, Treant had 10-second cooldown on Leech Seed, and then they changed it to 7 because nobody played him, and they had to buff him. But now it went from 7 to 10. I think that's like a really good nerf because his spell is what made him so strong. I think it's pretty good. I think it's a good nerf because Treant was just too powerful of a unit, and you're gonna see the difference in like how much weaker Treant Protector actually is with this. That's like a 50%, almost 50% addition to like his cooldown, which is kind of crazy. Viper Nether Toxin damage change, so level 2 and level 3 Viper does a lot less damage. That's like a lot less damage. But Viper again, same thing with Dragon Knight. Like they were just a sick combo together. So a Viper nerf is like the same thing as nerfing Dragon Knight also, because you're like nerfing an alliance, something part of an alliance. So in general, this is like a huge hit for dragons together. Like nerfing Viper is the same thing as nerfing Dragon Knight because they're like partners, right? They go together in the builds. So that's kind of big. Item changes. Diffusal Blade, clarify tooltip to mention the damage it does per hit. So this was not there before. Like it never said, the tooltip never said that the Diffusal Blade did damage. So apparently it did damage, and they changed the damage from 20 to 30. So now every time Diffusal Blade hits something, it will still do 30 damage. So that's pretty good then, right? I like that. So maybe Diffusal Blade is not so bad, and you could probably play it with like Medusa and it would be good. Horn of the Alpha, fix an issue where units with Horn of the Alpha revived by Io would summon another Thunderhide. I think this was, it's just a bug, I guess, or something, but had to do with probably knockout mode. In knockout mode, you got like the tier 5 items in a lot of games. Something like that. Mask of Madness, fix an issue where Mask would not get credit for healing on the healing unit meter shop. So some bugs. Vlad's changed from 10% to 8. So just a small decrease in damage. I still think Vlad's is amazing. I think the power of Vlad's comes from the aura of armor and obviously the lifesteal for your carries, so it's good still. 2% is still, you know, a nerf at the end of the day. Nerfs always add up no matter what. Alliance changes. Heartless. Yay! Heartless buffs! Maybe we can see Pudge again! You guys have been waiting for Pudge, right? You can see Pudge again now, guys. Huge buff. 1 armor minus 1 additional 1 armor is like huge. Like this is gonna be great. Like if you can play Heartless can counter Scrappy's. This is pretty much removing half of Scrappy's armor. It will also be a nerf to Assassins. Assassins hated playing against Heartless. Heartless destroyed Assassins. Like they just got demolished because their HP pools were low. They didn't have any units who had extra armor, and now they can just get like 2-shotted or something. So that's pretty good against them too. Heartless not so good against mages, of course, but yeah, it's kind of, I mean, like this is like reverting back to what it was before, and I think we're gonna see a lot of Heartless gameplay now. Personally, I was just being sarcastic if you guys didn't realize, but I don't want to see Pudge in Underlords, but like we're gonna see a lot of Pudge, I think, again. With this kind of change. So early game, if you get level 1 Heartless, it's -4 armor. It's huge. Like that's almost as much as a Desolator, and Desolator only does -5 armor to 1 unit, right? Now this is -4 armor to every unit. It's so much. Like it's actually a huge buff. Hunters, extra shot chance. So also a buff to Hunters. So level 1 they have a 30% chance. Level 2 they have 38%. You're gonna see a lot of 3 Hunters. Especially paired with Heartless buff, so I think we can see a lot of Heartless Hunters being played together. It's gonna be crazy. Insect, there's a bug with them that was fixed, not too big of a deal. Knights damage reduction changed, so they got upped in their damage reduction, and when units are hitting them from the front, also got upped on level 2 Knights and level 3 Knights. Also their damage reduction amp is that got buffed on is level 2 and level 3 Knights. So the more Knights you have, the more tankier they will be. So it's another buff to Knights. Mages, extra magic damage changed from 25 to 35 on level 1. Amazing for mages. Like that's actually insane. Like they buffed level 2 Storm, and like they gave another additional 10% debuff to the opponent. Like that's actually crazy. I think you can see a lot of mages in the early mid game, like really stabilizing well with these kind of buffs. Spirits, damage per spirit during Delta Slam changed from 200 to 225. Actually, now that I think about it, there's a chance you can see like a few spirits, because Earth Spirit is a 2 cost, and you might see like Warrior Mages or something, but it's very unlikely still. I think this buff is not significant enough for us to see any spirits quite yet. I think out of all of this, the biggest changes has to be Jull. Like Jullin's change is absolutely crazy. Then Heartless change was insane. Storm Spirit getting a little buffed on 2-star, also very good. So these are some key changes. But yeah, Heartless, Hunters, Jull, and then the Storm Spirit, the mages for that matter. I'm also thinking because of the Jull meta, like if Jull becomes meta right now because of how tanky he is, like Heartless Hunters will be even more potent, because you're gonna want to like stack this minus armor onto this Jull and take him out right away, because if you don't kill the Jull, no one on the enemy team dies, then you're gonna get chunked for like 20 damage a round or something if that happens. So I'm very interested to see like how this meta will play out, and I think like this literally changed the entire game. All right, well that's it. That's the freaking new patch, man.